Bitcoin can function on itself. It just needs wallets, miners, but for a functioning ecosystem, Bitcoin needs services. Bitcoin needs payment providers, Bitcoin needs exchanges, and Bitcoin just needs to be integrated into the existing system. That's when Bitcoin becomes most powerful. There are systems in place in Hong Kong, payment systems or just financial systems that work very well. If I have 100 Hong Kong dollars in my bank account today, I'm going to have 100 Hong Kong dollars in it tomorrow. With Bitcoin, the value fluctuates so much that it makes it less useful. For certain things like online payments, Bitcoin though is a lot faster and a lot more secure than I would be able to use a credit card or PPS. What is mostly a challenge right now for Hong Kong is that it's impossible to integrate the two systems because banks are unwilling to bank for Bitcoin businesses. That's something that is gradually changing in the rest of the world. In Singapore now, for about half a year, banks are willing to give bank accounts to Bitcoin businesses. In the US, there are a couple of high-profile banks that are willing to bank. In Europe as well, but in Hong Kong still, the answer is straight out no. I don't think it's a problem around the government. At least so far what we know is what they have publicly said, and what they have said in casual conversations is that Bitcoin is perfectly legal in Hong Kong and the regulations around Bitcoin are very clear. In Hong Kong, we're actually in a very unique situation that Bitcoin doesn't challenge the status quo too much when it comes to the government, because taxation on land is still very easy to do with Bitcoin. You cannot hide that you own land even if you use Bitcoin as means for payments for rent. Tax evasion is not very common in Hong Kong. The tax code is very simple. Bitcoin fits in very nicely into the tax code. Things like VAT and capital gains tax and other difficult regulations around trading, for example, make Bitcoin sometimes difficult to report on. For example, in the US, it's very difficult to really figure out how to report income on Bitcoin. In Hong Kong, it's very easy. So I think it's largely a bank issue. Maybe the Hong Kong Monetary Authority is a little bit too cautious. I don't think Bitcoin at all creates a stability risk in the Hong Kong banking sector, but maybe they see it that way. The reason why Hong Kong banks are not willing to bank with Bitcoin business, there's dozens and dozens of reasons. A lot of it has to do with more with US regulations sometimes than with Hong Kong regulations. In Hong Kong, it wouldn't be too problematic to have a Bitcoin business. But what if you get in trouble with the United States for banking with a Bitcoin company in Hong Kong? And that's what banks are more afraid of than getting in trouble with the Hong Kong regulators. One market is going to be the remittance market, where the status quo is very expensive, very slow, sometimes even difficult to use. Bitcoin can do that a lot faster, a lot cheaper, allowing for more smaller payments rather than a few large payments, which is usually to the advantage of the people who receive them or the people who make the payments. Another thing is online payments. That's something where if you are in Hong Kong, a Hong Kong person, and you want to top up your Xbox Live account, or you want to buy some online games, or you want to pay for an internet server, that's already a very good use cases for Bitcoin. And buying things online, especially services online, I think Bitcoin is going to be adopted a lot more, because it's very easy for an 18-year-old gamer in Hong Kong to go to an ATM, buy Bitcoins, and pay for a video game online, which is much easier than convincing the parents, can I borrow your credit card? Because Hong Kong students don't have credit cards. That's one thing where we're already seeing a lot of adoption. I think if we have better integration between the Hong Kong dollar and Bitcoin, then we're also going to see a lot of Hong Kong companies that provide online services or that do e-commerce around the world accepting Bitcoins online, because that's where Bitcoin is very strong. And right now, there's a Hong Kong flower delivery shop. They deliver flowers to Shenzhen and to Macau and also to Hong Kong. And they're having troubles with credit cards, because if somebody, let's say somebody lives in London, their husband or wife is in Hong Kong and has their birthday while on a business trip, then a credit card company might decline this purchase of flowers because it says, you're living in London. Why are you sending flowers to somebody who's not you in Hong Kong suddenly? So that's one problem. Sometimes they then use PayPal, but if you're in Macau or in Shenzhen, then you cannot use PayPal, or you don't have a credit card. And Bitcoin already solves that today. We need to organize ourselves a little bit better, and we need to actively reach out to regulators, to police, to banks, to other institutions like accounting firms, and explain Bitcoin to them, really from a very neutral stance. And that's something that we think we can do a lot better as an association of individuals, rather than as companies that have a company interest in a certain thing. Forming this association, this formal association, also very much helped us in having somebody that the public or the media or even the government can reach out to.